how much did the Knicks fear Jimmy Butler?
Excuse me? Could you repeat that question? Jimmy Butler might be familiar with them too. But all I'm trying to say to you is this. There is a reason to fear Jimmy Butler, but that will only elevate the level of focus and tenacity and commitment that is necessary to take him down. And he will go down in this series.
Away, another outlet, another catch, another touchdown.
Shot clock down to 1. Butler from the baseline. Count it. Wow! Butler yet to score in this first quarter. Butler gets the angle.
Was that again, Stephen A? I mean, against his beloved New York Knicks, Jimmy Butler went off, averaging 24.6 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 43% from the field to make quick work of them in just 6 games. See, trash-talking Jimmy Butler on live TV will only get your favorite team into trouble. And at the end of the day, Stephen A learned his lesson the hard way and only had this to say afterward.
Done with this man.
Today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Like, out of all the players, why on earth would you call out Jimmy Butler publicly? Especially during the playoffs. I mean, that's like having a death wish. Time and time again, we know that playoff Jimmy will show up, no matter who he's up against. But some players out there still try to light a fire under him for no reason at all. I mean, take Jrue Holiday's case as an example. See, before the first round matchup between the Heat and the Bucks even began, Holiday fired some shots in an interview, saying that although the Heat had a pretty solid lineup, they still had more talent than them. Anyways, Jimmy was probably aware when Jrue said those words, and in the back of his mind, I'm pretty sure that Jimmy was like this.
Say what?
Now, Jrue is a tough competitor and is one of the best perimeter defenders, so he can kind of talk. But as much as Jrue has his credentials, so does Jimmy. And in this particular beef, Jimmy literally destroyed the rest of the Bucks simply because he didn't like what Jrue said. Throughout the 5 games, Butler averaged 37.6 points, 6 rebounds, and 4.8 assists while shooting at 60% and 44.4% splits from the field and distance. Playoff Jimmy was so mad at Jrue that in Game 2, he dropped a playoff high of 56 points to send a major statement. Now during the closeout game, Butler wasn't going to let Jrue get away with his crimes that easily, and so he had his revenge by spewing some words of his own.
Just shot it off the heel of the backboard.
Butler, the last 6, make it the last 8 for Miami.
He has come alive, and they are feeding it.
3-point edge. This is to tie it.
Butler owned not just Giannis and the rest of the Bucks in that series, but also Jrue in particular. Because when you take a look at their head-to-head matchup, Jimmy literally dropped 66 points while shooting 56.5% from the field and 64.3% from downtown on Jrue's head while being his primary defender. And to be honest, I've never seen any player dominate Jrue Holiday like Jimmy did in that series. Well, this was not the first time that someone poked at Jimmy, because back in 2015, Devin Booker also shot his shot back when he was still a rookie, right after one of their first matchups in the 2015 season. Butler said in the postgame that Booker was up in his ears the entire game talking trash to him. Now, I understand why Booker did what he did. I mean, he was just trying to act tough and compete really hard, since he's the new kid on the block. You know, typical rookie stuff. But the part that he didn't realize was, this was the time when Butler got his Jimmy Buckets nickname, because he was already emerging as a superstar for the Bulls at this point. And during that game, Butler took the rookie to school to prove that he's not the type of guy that he should be messing with.
Success last year. Butler again gets Booker off his feet.
And after teaching him a lesson, Butler lived up to his nickname by dropping bucket after bucket.
Team shooting. He'll put it on the deck. Kiss it home. 7 in the 4th for Butler. Butler, step back, long 2. It's show. They work it around to Butler on the right side. His 3 is there. Butler.
Jimmy scored 14 points in the last 12 minutes to end up with 32 points that night to teach Booker a thing or two about respect. Now, fast forward to this season. It seems that Booker still hasn't learned his lesson, and during their season matchup, he dropped a bucket on him and was like asking for it.
Yeah, he got going in that third quarter, then caught the finger in the eye. Book raising up over the defender, gets the finish and the foul. Money shot by number 1.
You know he loves it, right? He's smiling.
The game went down to the wire in the final seconds with the Suns down by 1. And even though Butler failed to stop him earlier, he made sure that D-Book wouldn't be having the last laugh by locking him up during the last possession of the ball game.
Surrounded, out to Bridges. Book's got it. Final 7 seconds here. Book on the drive, raising up off the elbow. Blocked by Butler. Booker gets it back, turning, firing for the win.
Anyways, Jimmy Butler built a ton of beef with a lot of players throughout his playing career. And because of his ultra-competitive nature, there were quite a few times that he clashed with his teammates as well. See, after a disappointing first-round exit against the Rockets in the 2018 playoffs, Jimmy called out his T-Wolves teammates the following season for their lack of professionalism and not having enough grit to win ball games. Now, Butler eventually took his frustrations to the front office by demanding a trade, and a month later, Jimmy came back for training camp. Then, while he was having a friendly conversation with then head coach Tom Thibodeau, Jimmy said that somebody shouted at him saying, "You're gonna practice." Now, he got so angry being interrupted like that he just snapped, and when he was asked to play with the starters in a scrimmage, he instead chose to play with the third stringers just to prove a point. Anyways, to really have an idea of what went down in the practice session, here's Jimmy's former teammate Jeff Teague spilling all the beans.
I'm gonna tell y'all what really happened. So we were at practice one day. Jimmy ain't came to no workout. So workout started in September, we don't see Jimmy. Nobody's talking to Jimmy. Jimmy, we haven't seen Jimmy. We diving for loose balls. Tibbs said, "We're gonna scrimmage." Jimmy hop up. Jumped the ball. He's like, "I got Cat." I was like, "Oh shit." So Jimmy and Cat ain't like each other. That's another part of the story I get to one day. They ain't like each other. That gets real funny when they don't like each other. So they jump the ball. We throw it to Cat first play. Jimmy steal it. Go down, score. They go down, score. Like, "Come on, Cat, post his little ass up, man. He can't guard you, blah, blah, blah." Jimmy like, "Fuck out of here. He trash." Steal the ball again. They go down and score. Jimmy start talking to the gym. Everybody in the gym. "Y'all better mother effing pay me. I'm like that." I'm like, he is nuts. I'm laughing, not realizing what's coming with this. I'm laughing. Me and D-Rose laughing. We in the game. We keep throwing the Cat. Cat finally scored. He too little. I'm like, "Yeah, Cat, talk to that motherfucker, man. He ain't nothing." Boy, they go on this 10-0 run. They dunking, hitting threes. Jimmy ain't scored at all. He just stealing the ball and passing to people, getting assists, just playing the right way. But he like doing everything. Time run out. They win. They beat us like 18-6, right? Man, Jimmy going crazy. "Y'all think that team can win without me? I'm him. Pay me. Pay me."
As Teague said, Butler handed it to them playing with a bunch of bench players, and this just goes to show that Jimmy becomes a totally different beast whenever you piss him off. Now, among all the teammates he hated most, there was one guy he specifically singled out, and that was Karl-Anthony Towns. After the incident that took place at practice, Jimmy said that he has no plans of staying for the long haul, and called out Cat for not really caring whether they win or lose. Anyways, when Jimmy got traded to the Heat, his beef with Cat resurfaced during one of their season matchups. And in that game, Jimmy put his big boy pants on and showed him what winning really looks like.
Some interesting talk later on tonight about D'Angelo Russell. Oh, Butler with a steal and slam. Batted around, taken by Bam. Ahead for Jimmy, spins and slams. Left in the period. Look out, Butler. He got his 4th steal. And the slam. 17 for 26 at the line. Jimmy.
Jimmy dominated the game from both ends of the floor, and the Heat established a sizable margin late in the fourth. However, before the game ended, Jimmy didn't forget to throw some parting words at Cat by saying,
Adebayo going to the line where he's 1 of 2 tonight. Miami 16 of 23. Jimmy Butler and Karl-Anthony.
When the final buzzer sounded, Butler had 25 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals to carry the Heat to a win, 121-112, settling his beef with Karl-Anthony Towns once and for all. Now, speaking of beef, Jimmy said that there was one time that LeBron got up in his grill and talked some smack at him, specifically during Game 3 of the 2020 Finals inside the bubble. Now, in his defense, LeBron said that he wasn't the type of guy who's going to initiate trash talking. However, after scouring the internet for evidence, I accidentally found this clip. Now, it wasn't really clear on who started talking, but according to Jimmy, it was indeed LeBron who started yapping first by saying, "You're in trouble," at the end of the first quarter. Well, Butler took note of what LeBron said, and in the next couple of quarters, he just took it personally by dropping buckets left and right.
Getting back to his initial man.
Butler drives, sweet fake from Jimmy Butler.
The smartest players who's played in the NBA.
Butler, tough fall away shot is good.
4 to shoot.
Butler drives, flips it up and in.
And in the final moments of the game, Jimmy returned the receipt back to LeBron when he said,
Jimmy Butler.
And I think he's saying they're in trouble. Very interesting.
Butler capped off his revenge by having a triple-double of 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 13 assists. And once again, Jimmy Buckets showed up when he got tested on the big stage. So what's your favorite part of Jimmy Butler's game? Let us know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video of Jimmy getting disrespected, be sure to click the next one on the screen, because we have a whole bunch of trash talking goodness lined up. Go ahead and click it. It's free.